Good morning. Give me a couple of minutes to put stuff in, things that I'm going to use in the live. You know the drill. You got a minute or two. Go grab yourself something to drink or I'm just going to put in the same thing over and over. Hopefully not. Say hi when you get here if you'd like to. I'm using lots of stuff today. Lots of paper stuff. I'm almost done. All right, I think I'm done. I'm done. Got some stuff in here twice. That doesn't need to happen. Got a lot of things in there twice. Oh well. Huh. You'd think I'd be able to delete those, wouldn't you? Nope. I'll have to do it after. Hi, Lori. Looks like it's just you and me, Lori. All right. Where are we at here? If you've not done this or it's your first time here, exclamation point notify will give you an audible notification if you type that in the comments on this live or any live on my Old to Ooh La La art page. It has to be on my Ooh La La art page, not my old page. Hi, Lisa. So it's exclamation point, no space, notify. Put it right in the comments here or on any live on my Old to Ooh La La art page. And Facebook will give you like a notification back that it's worked. So if it hasn't worked, it means you're not on the right page. Because hi, Carol. Hi, Claire. Because I have an old page called Old to Ooh La La hand painted pieces that I lost like, I don't know, 3 years ago. Like I can still get into it, but I can't really post pictures there or anything. So it's pretty much dead to me. But it's still there. And I still like patch the live over there. Okay, way too much information that you guys don't need to know. Right, so shall we proceed? In all of my printable kits, I include what's commonly referred to in the paper industry, I guess, as a 4-pack. I forgot to put links into the, I'm putting a link in for my newest printable, which is a celebration Rose de Noel. And then I'm putting in a link right now for what we're going to use today, which is Dreamy Pink Noel. okay? Where was I? Should I turn this light on? Better or worse? 1 or 2? Let's try that for a while. Except we got that little, lots of reflection. There's no way around it. There's just reflection. It's just the way it is. Okay, so if you've already bought Dreamy Pink Noel, check your email, because I added a paper to that collection because I didn't know I was going to make a journal till after I'd already created that collection. Okay, so there's a paper in there that kind of looks like this. Okay, it looks just like this. It's a full 8.5 by 11 paper, and you cut it in half horizontally. So now it's cut in half, and then you fold it in on itself, and that makes a journal page. Okay, that's going to go in your Petite journal. So check your email for that if you've already bought the collection. If you haven't bought the collection and you're going to, it's already in that collection. Okay. All right. So, and it's quiet out here. Anyway, I always have these little 4-packs in my collections, and I have the 8.5 images, 8.5 by 11 images, and then I take 4 of those images and I put it on one sheet of paper like this, and that lends itself beautifully to making a journal. All you have to do is cut horizontally across the 4-pack and then fold them in on themselves, and then you can make a journal with these images. And that's what we've done, what we're going to do today. Okay, so when you're doing this, the images, they're folded in on themselves. Okay, make sure they're faced the right way, and they stack on top of each other, and you attach them back page to front page of the next printable. Okay, and this is how you create a book. So let's do that right now. Let's attach this page to this page. Always make sure that they're faced the right way. I've glued them upside down before, and that's... Hi, Patricia. Patricia, I answered your question. Well, I didn't answer your question. I responded to your question. I'm sorry I didn't have an answer. I don't know the answer to that. But I would take the advice. I linked you to a live from Iron Orchid. I would take their advice since it's their product. I know it's a drag to have to buy a new product, but look around. I mean, maybe somebody else has a different idea. There's generally more than one way to attack a problem. This is my Beacon 3-in-1, and it's a waterless glue, and you need waterless glue if you're going to work with paper, or else your paper will warp. Okay, so I'm just going all around. You don't want to get too much at the edges because you don't want this to ooze, because then your pages will stick together. So I know that this is faced the right way, and I've already looked at that one. So now you're just going to stack them on top of each other. I try to make the folded part even, and either the bottom or the top even, because you always have to trim. I've never done this where I didn't have to trim. And you've got a little bit of wiggle room with the glue, so you can kind of pull it down and get it nice and straight. And now, as you can see, we're beginning to create a book. Okay, see, we're going to have to trim it, and you always have to trim. So when I glue 2 together, I trim before I go any further, and then when I glue another part to it, I'll trim that. So I trim with every 2 pages that I put together, because if you wait to the end... Oh, you're ordering it. Okay, good. Let me know how it goes, hon. I've never put an inlay on fabric, so I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry I couldn't help you. So you can see here we've got white space, so we need to trim that off. You can do it with your paper trimmer, or you can do it with scissors. I generally just go in with my spring-loaded scissors, which I love. And you can kind of rest the blade against the top paper, and that keeps you just right on target there. So I'm taking that off, and I'm going to take this part off. That's off. How are we doing there? See, I've still got some white, but that's on the next page. I've got a little bit down here at the bottom, a little bit on the side. Yep. So it's easier to do this as you go. At least to me it is. If you wait till the whole book's put together, it gets a little confusing. Like it's hard to know what's, because you'll have so many layers, it'll be hard to tell what's even and what's not even. So it makes more sense to do it as you glue 2 pages together. Go and trim them and get all the white off. Okay, so now I've got no white. Everything's the way I want it. I'm going to go in and I'm going to round my corners, okay? Here's the corner round punch. I put this in the comments. Gosh darn it. Every once in a while this thing goes a little wonky. There we go. Okay. And then the back page as well. Well, it's not really the back page, but it is right now because we haven't attached it to the rest of the book yet. Okay, so there we are. There she is. Hi, sweetheart. Driving to a birthday event. Nice. Hi, Gail. Hi, sweetheart. So that's how you take those 4-pack papers that are in probably 90% of my collections. I put the 4-pack papers in there, and it really lends itself well to making a little mini journal. And this journal is about 5 by 4, so it's just a lovely little size. Okay, so now we've got some pages going here. I'm going to attach it to pages that I've already glued together, or we'd be here forever. Okay, so these pages are already done, and I'm just going to glue this part to the front of this part. Because you can see how it gets kind of laborious, because you have to trim every time, and you have to make sure everything's even, and you have to round your corners. But I do it just 2 parts at a time, and then I attach. Okay. Hi, Linda. So make sure everything is faced the right way. That's faced the right way. Oh, I forgot my corner down here. So this is faced the right way. This is the rest of my book, my journal. I'm going to take the back page and glue it to this page with my fabric tack, just like we did before. So I kind of want, the most important part to me is the binding. You don't want your binding all crazy, because then when you go to cover it, it looks lumpy and weird. So I kind of go like that to make sure that my binding is straight. And then I can kind of open it up and see, like I can see I need to take a little bit off of that. Do I? Do I really? Maybe not. Maybe not. Now I've taken one of the 4-packs and I cut it not just horizontally, but also vertically. And this is the front of your little mini journal. It's like 12 Days of Christmas. And that's the back. So these two were attached like this, and I cut them down the middle, okay? So this is going to be the front of your mini journal. So we'll attach that now. Let's do the corners. So I've got the corners done, rounded. I don't want this glue to get too close to the edges because I don't want it to bleed like over to the other pages, because that will make your pages stick together. You don't want that. Now, because this got thicker, if I put it all the way over to the binding side, I'll have a big white space on the other side. Like if I put this way over here, I'm going to have a lot of white on that side. So your cover needs to come to the far side of your journal, okay? Match it up, because we're going to put a binding over here, so it doesn't matter if there's white on that part. A little bit of white right there, so I'm going to corner around that to match. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got our front covers done, the back covers done. I showed you how to put the pages together. These are the 2 pages that we were working with at the beginning of the video. And then I went ahead and put the rest of the pages together so we'd have time to play around. It's got a hidden paper clip on it, some tags, spots for journaling. So you have 2 spots for journaling in this little mini journal. Looks like I can trim a little bit off the back of that. You see that? That's going to interfere with the binding that I have in mind for the spine. Hold on. See that? That's got to go. And that's okay. And that's just, it's what you just kind of open up your book and flip through and see what's not lining up, and you do this. There's really no other way to do it. Okay? So there's that. That corner's not perfect, so let's go back in and snip that corner. There we go. Where are we at? There we are. And your book is, at least mine are never perfectly aligned. I don't know why. I think it's just, you know, it's handmade and it's just the nature of the beast. I could probably cut those 2 pages down and make them, in fact I will, because you can see where that is like that? I can probably do that and it'll fix it or it'll ruin it, because I don't really have a guide, so I'm really winging it. Now I've got to fix those corners because the corner's off now. Ha! Better. Okay. The next thing that's important, you can see like these back pages are nice and dark on the outside, and these are white. I don't like that. I like that to be, thank you, Patricia. I like that to be dark. It looks better. So I've got my vintage photo ink, and I got a brand new ink pad and loaded it, and boy, is it dark. There, yeah, yesterday it was dark. So what I do is I just take my blender and I just go around. Don't forget your corners, because you've cut those so they're white as well. And I just go around like this, and I'm just dyeing the edges of the paper. So when it's all together, there's no white showing. And you can take it after it's done or at any point and do that, okay? Then, ooh, I see a lot of white right there. That's got to go. Then I'm going to take my blender tool and I'm going to, if you recut a corner, you have to go and touch that corner up too, because that'll stay white as well. Okay, then I'm going to come in on these 2 pages because I've not done it yet, and I'm just going to give it some interest here with some ink. Everything looks better with a little border of vintage photo, in my opinion. Now, I take this and I bend it back, and I go on that side, and then I go on that side. I don't bend it back too much, but a little bit. There, so now you've got nice, beautiful shadow all the way around. Boy, that still has a lot of white on it. Now I've got to come to this second page, and I've got to do the same thing. I'm just going to take my blender tool and bring a nice little border of vintage photo all the way around. There we go. So let's look at what we have so far. So far we have the front of our little mini journal. We're going to put a beautiful binding here. Here we've got room for journaling. We're going to do something with this page so it makes sense. We've got, and on any of these pages, look, in that same set, Dreamy Pink Noel, there's a whole page of ephemera, okay? Remember when we made the loaded tag? These are all tags from that piece of, that page of ephemera, okay? So print these out. Look, there's all kinds of little bits and pieces that you can put. Even these tall ones, you can just cut them down a little bit, or you can even leave them just stick out if you want to. But there's all kinds of little tags to print out that page of ephemera and use these to tuck into pockets, okay? And you can make your pockets. We're going to make some right now. You can make your pockets. Remember, I had a whole big piece of paper that I ruined because I folded it wrong the first time. I made pockets out of this. And tags. I didn't let it go to waste. So I was able to really use that paper. So there's that page. And on any of these pages, take a piece of paper, print out another extra piece of paper if you want to. Cut it like this in a triangle. You can take your fancy scissors and give it a nice border and attach it like that. And then you've got a place to put a little ticket, like I've done here. Okay, so this is some scrapbook paper I had. This is a ticket from the ephemera page in the collection. This is a covered paper clip. If you go back to the loaded tag video, you can see how to make one of these, and these are fun because this way I can just slip it onto here. It gives me a little bit of interest on this page, and then I don't have to put a little corner pocket here because I can just tuck it right up under here like that. Or you could take your folded paper, your covered paper clip, and you can put it on the side if you want to. It doesn't matter where you put it, or put it on the bottom. It doesn't matter where you put it, okay? Because it looks cute from both sides. Okay, I just kind of liked it up here. So you've got everything in that collection to make this little petite journal, okay? These tags I cut just out of that paper. This is scrapbook paper, so it's not in the collection. But these tags I cut just out of that paper, and I used a ticket tag punch, and I made it 1.5 inches, which is the very smallest one. And you just feed that paper up into there. You guys want to see how that works? Because it's pretty magical, especially if you have scraps. Now you can take all those scraps and turn them like that. I had that whole page of paper that really, you know, was destined for the trash, but because I knew that I could take and make sweet little tags, I didn't throw it away. Hold on, I'm looking for just a plain piece of paper, which you think would be easy to find out here, but it's actually not. Okay. I'm going to show you how I make these tags. This is part of what I had planned to do. Okay. So you need 1.5 inches here. So what I do is I just put it up to the punch. I put it right there, and I give myself a little pencil tick. Okay. And then I come to this side, and your paper is going to go all the way to the top there. So I put it all the way to there. And then I give myself a little wiggle room there, okay? Now, I'm going to do that twice. Well, I don't have to because this is double-sided. If you had just single-sided paper, you would cut 1.5, 1.5, so 3 inches across, and then you'd fold it, and then it would be finished on the front and the back. Hi, sweetheart. It'd be finished on the front and the back. But since this is double-sided paper, we're just going to cut it that way. And then I'm going to show you another one of my favorite punches that I use all the time. I play with paper all the time. I make lots and lots of paper stuff that you guys don't ever even see. Because that's my happy place, is paper. Everybody's like, what do you do with it all? Nothing. The joy is in the making, for me anyway. The joy is in the making. Okay, so we've got a little 1.5 inch by, I don't even know how long that is, 3.5 inches. And it's finished on both sides, which if you can find cardstock or scrapbook paper like that, it saves you time. But you can make this twice as wide, fold it in half, and then it's finished on the front and the back. These are just folded in half, so they're finished on the front and the back. Okay? So then you're going to take this, you're going to feed it right in that little slot, and it'll fit perfectly because you cut it just to that size. I always turn it around and make sure it's centered. You see the paper up there? You're going to press. Ta-da! You have a fabulous tag. I love that thing. And it makes tags that are 1.5, 2.5, and 2. So you've got 3 different, you can make a pretty big tag. But it gives it this lovely kind of scalloped top, which I really, really like. Hold on, I have to take my sweater off. It's too hot out here. Okay. So I've cut that out. You have 2 options. You can put a grommet in it. Remember we did grommets on the other tag with the crocodile. If you're interested in paper, go look at that loaded tag video because there's a lot of good tips in there, okay? Or you can take one of my favorite punches. It's called a whale tail, which I guess it does kind of look like a whale. And you can cut a tab that fits, just happens to fit right across the 1.5 inch ones. But if you made bigger, you could still use this punch. It's just cute that it fits right over the... So I'm just going to take a piece of paper. I hope this is enough paper. I don't think it is. It's not. So what you need is you need a folded piece of paper, okay? You want to fold it. You're going to put it in this punch, fold side first, okay? Just like that. You're going to punch, and now you have a darling little tab. I've taken these tabs and I've put them as tabs on the outside of a little journal. They're cute there. They're also adorable on the top of a tag to make a little punch like that. Isn't that cute? And that's what I did here. Oh, I didn't cut that very long, did I? Could have been longer, but that's okay. It's just practice. Although these colors match well enough, I'm going to probably put that in there. So then you'd want to take and do your little, whoops. I always corner around on my tags. I don't know why. I just like it. You don't have to if you don't want to. Take a little bit of ink, go all around my edges. You have to ink this before you attach it because of this part right here. You won't be able to ink it. And then because of that white, I go and I do the sides, because the sides will show white. Okay, just like that. Then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to glue it to this. I'm going to put glue on the entire surface of this. Not a ton, enough to get it to stick. I'm going to line up the front. I consider that the front. This little curve out is going to go right to the top of my little ticket that I made. If you turn it over, you can see if you're even. And we are. And then go like this. Bam, you got a little ticket, little tag with a little top to it. Got a little bit of overhang on each side. No worries. A little snip takes care of that. Takes care of that. So now you've got a darling little ticket, and I kind of like that colors that it has. So we'll kind of add this in with this. We'll put this on this page like that. Okay, let me show you how I made this little corner pocket. Okay, we're going to go back to our other journaling section, which is here. Take a triangle of paper just like this. See how far up you want it to go. That's good. That's where I like my decorative scissors. I'm going to cut a straight line with my decorative scissors, and it'll give me like a really nice little ruffly edge that looks really good when you ink it. Okay. So now that's got like a ruffly edge. Get my ink. The darker that edge is, the more it's going to show when you put it down on the other paper. I'm going to go all around your edges. I'm going to, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm going to circle or corner punch the end of that, okay? Also going all around the edges like this, because you know you don't want that white core of paper to show through. Sometimes, like when that center looks awfully light to me, I'll just come and give it a few little scuffs of ink just to kind of bring the tone down on that if it's too light colored. Now you're going to take this, that's going to glue right there. I put it on this side because over here I'm covering up too much of the design that I put on this little journal paper. So I like it on this side where the design is not as much. So I'm just going to go edge, edge. This free edge, no glue, because your little tickets are going to slide in there, okay? So I'm just going to go from one edge right here. Just like that. Line everything up. Make sure you don't have any white showing on the back. Now you've got a pocket. Now you can take I know I didn't glue that. There you go. You can take little, this is a little covered paper clip that I made in the loaded tickets page. Loaded tag. He's big. He's a big paper clip. But you could put that there. You could take, these are all pieces from that loaded tag, but they're all part of that ephemera sheet that I put in that collection, okay? And here, remember, we went nuts putting these together with the little, I love it, with the little embroidery floss we tied it with. So, and here you don't really have a pocket, but you can tuck something like that because that's a paper clip and it'll hold it in place, okay? So now you've got this darling little, and it's okay if it's lumpy. Journals are supposed to be lumpy, okay? So you've got this darling page here. I would probably put something on this. I don't know what. I might put another piece of paper because I can see now that that roof line is upside down. But it didn't matter on the loaded tag that that was like that. But I might put another piece of paper on there. Like maybe, yeah, I might. Or I might not. Who knows? Come to this page. You've got this darling situation here. You've got lots of places to write. Another beautiful page. And again, don't be afraid to put little things here. You can also run the paper all the way along this side if you wanted to. You take a piece of paper, cut it to size. I don't know, maybe an inch is good. Cut it, cut it, cut it so it fits. Do your decorative edge there. Attach it here, here, and up top, and now you've got a little place that you can slide tickets in this way. Okay, that's also another way to do that. And we've got, hi Debbie, hi Bonnie. We've got this beautiful page. This is the back of the little smaller, see how much smaller that paper clip is than this one? You can make those any size you want. Oh, look at these dreamy houses. Just so beautiful. Now we've got this page here. This is tucked up behind the, all of these came from the ephemera page, except for this. This was scrap of paper, and this I just kind of made just now. But it kind of fits, so we'll put it in there. We made a little pocket here, here, and there's our back cover. Now, something to consider. If you wanted to send this to someone or just even gift it, you know, tuck it in the tree branches. Thank you, whoever that was. Tuck it in the tree branches at Christmas. You could tuck little gift cards here as well, okay? Let's make a binding. I like this ribbon. It's very, very stiff, okay? I'm going to take all of my tags out so I can get it to lie nice and flat while I put my binding on. We've got all these darling little tags that we've made. Okay, so now it's going to lie nice and flat, which I need it to, okay? So now we're going to put on a binding. I like to do a fabric binding. You can do paper too. Fabric's cool, and look how pretty that rose-colored ribbon is with this. It looks beautiful. So what I did was I kind of put it on here, and made sure that there was enough for the front and wrap around the binding and enough for the back. Okay, so I'm going to attach the front first. I'm just going to put a line of fabric tack along here. This is kind of sticking out a little bit, this cover paper, so I'm going to trim it. It doesn't matter because it's going to be covered with that ribbon. But I want to get a nice snug fit, so I want to get as close to that binding as I can. Okay, so I've cut that off. Now, I'm going to put just a line of fabric tack along here. Don't go nuts. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just like that. I'm going to take the front, lay it on there. Make sure I've left enough room for the back, and I have. Make sure it's straight. Give that a second to firm up. Hi, Aracellus. How are you? Aracellus, you make the most beautiful art. You must just have so much fun when you're creating. Your art is beautiful. Now, I want to make sure it's nice and snug before I bend it around, because this is like a little bit stiff, but it is fabric. But I just liked it the way it picked up like the mauve tones and all this, so that's why I went with it. Then you're going to turn it over. You're going to do the same thing over here. You're going to put a thin line of fabric tack. And I usually take my finger and go like this so it's completely spread out and there's not big lumps of it. Then you can take and you can go like this and go like that. Fabulous. You're going to have to hold it for a minute because it doesn't want to hold right away. It takes a while. Not a while, but it's pretty fast drying, but this ribbon's pretty thick. It kind of has a mind of its own. You're welcome, Aracellus. It's true. Okay. There we go. So now we've got a beautiful binding on the back and the front. And I'm going to take I have two pairs of these spring-loaded scissors because I love them so much. This one I only use on fabric. So I want to cut this right at the, and I knew that it would fray like that, so that's okay. I'll show you a little trick to get that to stop, because you don't want that to happen the whole time, you know. But there's a way to remedy that. Ooh, this one really wants to go nuts. That's why you need a really nice sharp pair of scissors. Okay, so we got that end cut. I'm going to come and cut this end right close to the book, okay? Or journal, as close as you can get, and boom, it just pops right out. It really wants to unravel. Okay, then I take a little bit, thank you, whoever that was, I take a little bit of fabric tack and I put it on my finger, kind of smear it all around like that, and I just kind of touch to these loose fibers that want to fly all over the place. kind of touch it, pull it away gently because it's going to want to unravel even more. See? But what I'm trying to do is seal up that loose stuff there. This looks like it's going to need a little bit more attention. That's okay. Now that's all sealed up and it will not unravel anymore. Okay, and it looks very, very nice. Let's do it on the bottom as well. I can see that the stuff wants to unravel that way, so I'm going to come this way with my glue and smooth those down. It's like smoothing down stray hairs. There, now that will not unravel anymore. Okay, so we've got a beautiful binding on this, which just couldn't be any prettier. Oh, Araceli, if you need a printer, sweetie pie, you know that you can go to like a Office Max or any of those places, load the images on your phone, and they're really nice at the counter. They'll show you how to email the images to them, and they'll print them for you on the spot in laser, so you can use them. I did that for years before I bought my, because I've been working with paper for years and years. Before I bought my laser jet, I think 2 Christmases ago, I finally thought, Victoria, you deserve a printer. Ha! So I bought myself one. But that was only 2 years ago, and I've been working with paper for decades, you know. But yeah, it's hard to lay out that much money. You know, printers are not cheap. But so that's another option, hon. And I've even had some people tell me that they've taken their mulberry paper and the place has used that and put it through their printers. Some places say no, but some people have said yes. So if you wanted to print on mulberry paper or rice paper, whichever you like. I prefer mulberry paper. It's got a little bit more body to it. It decoupages exactly the same way. I'm just opening now to make sure that I didn't glue any of my pages together when I put that binding on, and I sealed up those little fraying spots at the back. It's always a good idea. See, I've got a little bit of stickiness right here. Okay, look at that pretty binding. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, that looks great. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you can do that before you bite the bullet and spend all that money on a printer. I'm very happy with my printer. Don't get me wrong, but that hurt. It was like, I don't know, close to $500. It was, and in retrospect, I didn't need to get the one that I got, but I'm happy with it, and I have it. You know, I could have gotten one that didn't do all. My husband got in on the decision making, and he thinks you need all the bells and whistles, which you don't. All you need is something that color prints in laser. That's all you need. I could have spent $300 and gotten the same. I mean, the thing has features that I've never even used and probably never will. But I have it, and it's wonderful just to sit there and be able to print out whatever you want, to resize. So look how beautiful that is. So we've got that part done. You know what? The only thing left to do is to tie a beautiful ribbon around this. And I chose this that I got at, it's a little bit see-through-ish. It's pink. I think I got it last year at, I don't know, either Hobby Lobby or Michael's, one or the other. Yeah, Araceli, like I said, for years, that's how I did it. I'd load my, I used to buy a lot of like my porch prints. I really like her stuff. And I would just download it to my phone and go to the place, and they were always so nice in helping me email it to them. And then it got to where, you know, I was like an old hand at it, and I would just email it before I got there and tell them what I wanted in the email, and they'd have the stuff ready when I got there. So that was pretty cool. So now we've got this great little little binding on our little mini journal. Looks wonderful. And now we're going to put, this is the finishing touch in my opinion. We're going to put a beautiful bow on here. How much do I need? I hate to waste, but I hate to cut and not have enough. It's hard to tie a bow unless you cut it, so I'm just going to cut it and hope for the best. Okay, so here's my trick for little journals and things like that. I don't tie and untie. I tie loosely and then I slide my bow off, because you get the perfect bow and then you have to untie it. No bueno. So I tie the first time and I make it a little bit loose. It's not going to fall off. I make it just loose enough that it can slide up and down. Because bows are a pain. I mean, to get them right, you know. So if you get it right finally, you don't want to untie it. Did I cut this too small? I did. I'm so mad. Wait, I'm so mad. Here we go. I moved it over. This is where you need another hand. Is that okay? That's loose enough to slide up and down. Okay, so I've got bunny ear. And a bunny ear. Man, can you believe it? I don't think I can get there from here. I'm not happy about it either. Shoot, I have to cut another length. Darn it. Okay, well, lesson learned. Or I could just tie it. This could work too. You could tie it in a knot, make a separate bow and put it on top. Maybe we'll do that. I've never done it that way before, but of course it would work. Maybe we'll do it that way. Let's just see. So I'm going to make this a little bit loose. I'm going to overlap it like this. Right now I'm just testing for slideability. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put something under there so the glue doesn't go through on the cover of my journal, okay? Because I'm going to glue this kind of in place right here. So put a little piece of paper under there so it doesn't leak through. Thank you, Araceli. So that's snug but not too tight, okay? So I'm going to hold this up like this. I'm going to get my fabric tack. I'm not 1000% sure this will work. I've never really tried it this way, but we're gonna see. I'm gonna set this on here so it can hold it down. I still don't think this is enough for a bow. I got a whole spool of this. I don't know why I'm so stingy with it, but you know, it's so pretty, and I've been saving it for a year. I've had this ribbon for a year, and every time I go to look at it, it's like, oh, I don't want to use it. It's too pretty. Isn't that silly? So when I make my bows, I just kind of back and forth, till I get the look that I want. This ribbon is quite stiff, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. I want to make sure I get that tight enough that it stays, but every time you pull the bunny ear back through, that this knot kind of loosens up. Ooh, that's looking good. Okay, very happy with that. Let's give it one of these. That's going to be pretty. All right, let's see if this is probably stuck to this. Oh, it's not. I'll be darned. Okay. Still want to leave that under there for a minute because that's still pretty wet. Then if you just go like that, kind of far away, huh? That works for me. It's another way to do it. Like that, right? So I'm going to leave this under here while I attach that. Always look at both sides of your bow to see which side is prettier. I think that side's prettier. I'd like to attach this with hot glue because I know this fabric tack isn't going to hold enough for me to slide this on and off on camera right now. And I don't want you to think, well, it doesn't work. It does work. I just want to see where we are. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm just going to hold it for a second, okay? And then we can slide it on and off, hopefully. Stuff does take a minute to dry, but once it's dry, it's dry. I'll bring my little tail down a little bit. You could also tie with, of course, our all-time favorite, which is seam binding, crinkled seam binding. Okay, so then, instead of tying and untying, you just gently slide that off. And there it's ready to be slid back on. Let's put our tags back in and then we'll do a flip through. So I'm going to put this one that one, and I'm using tags that I made specifically for this journal, and I'm also using some little tags from the ephemera loaded pocket because it's matching paper, you know, it's kind of interchangeable. So we're going to put that there. I've got my little, let's put this paper clip right here, covered paper clip, and we'll tuck this pretty little double-sided card right under it. Okay, just like that. So there's page 2. Page 3, which of course you can do the corner treatment, you can do the side treatment, or you can just leave it like that. I think it's lovely just like that. Or you don't even have to put anything in there. You could actually take a bigger tag and just lay it in there. There's nothing that says you can't have stuff peeking out from the top of your journal, okay? That's part of the charm of journals. You can make it any way you want. So you could certainly do that as well. And then it just, you know, when you open to that page, that just lifts right off. Then we come to page, I've lost track. Here's our other journal page. We're going to put a little ticket there. We've got another little paper clip that we're going to put here. I love this tag. We're going to tuck that right up, move this over just a hair. Tuck that right up in there. Isn't that pretty? Take another little tag and put it right here. Tuck a little gift card in there. Now we're to our back page, and there's the back of our little journal, 4x5. We've got this beautiful ribbon here that serves as our binding. So now we've got it all put together. I'm going to put this from the bottom because it's not as thick at the bottom. So you just go like this. Remember, we didn't untie it. Go like this and just slide that up. Done. How sweet is that? I could make these all day long. I just love them. I just love them. Well, they're paper, of course. Now, look, if you wanted to get fancy, I have these long pieces that are on the ephemera page. You could certainly cut them down. You could cut them down for sure, make them only that long, or you could leave them long, look, and you could tuck them on the front of your little journal. There's nothing to say you can't tuck something on the back of it. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, that's it. Ha. That's it, you guys. Okay, thanks for being here. I don't know when I'll see you again, but I'll see you again. Thanks for looking. Links for everything is in the comments. If there's something that you're not sure about, you have a question about, you know how to get hold of me. Message me or put it in the comments and I'll get back to you. This particular collection is called Dreamy Pink Noel. I have a new collection up that's called Celebration Rose de Noel, which is pretty. I put both of those links in the comments. I think I'm just about done creating for Christmas, because how much Christmas stuff can you have, right? And then I'll be retiring all that after Christmas. In January, I'll be retiring all the Christmas stuff. So there we go. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great Sunday, and I'll see you soon. Bye.